When does critical thinking come into play? Because there's absolutely no way I would ever accept that a people who would do this to a human being could ever teach me about a loving God. But yet, many black people, many people of color, many people who have been conquered have accepted the God of their conquerors because they were forced into it through pain. They were forced into it through murder, through lynching, through rape, through all sorts of horrific things. And these people are claiming to know of a loving God that is forgiving, that is caring, that takes care of the orphans and the widows, that says be kind to strangers. Yet you're going to try to teach me about a God while you're doing these things to me. That's like a man beating the hell out of a woman while making love to her and expecting her to enjoy it. And she's not enjoying it. I know there are some that would, but she's not enjoying it. But expecting her to, and expecting her to love it every time, expecting her to be obedient to it every time. You cannot, and I do understand how the initial people would fall under that control because they want the pain to stop. But then after generations and generations and society has changed and knowledge is available, how can you now that you're not under the yoke of slavery, now that you're not under the yoke of Jim Crow, how can you now still believe that the religion of a loving, caring God came from people who are not loving, who were not caring, who treated you less than human, who indignified you in every aspect that they possibly could? Why would you accept that they have translated this book properly for you? How can you expect that they have made the doctrines of this book for you? Many people would say that the power of God and his love is so powerful that even through all of that, he got his message across. But within the message of your book, it says that the slavery is okay. It says that the beating of the slave is okay. It tells you that the conquering of people is okay. The genociding of people is okay. It tells you that all these things are just perfectly fine. And you still call that God loving. That the only way he could come and save you was through another human sacrifice. And that you're supposed to consecrate and remember this sacrifice every time you eat his body and drink his blood. The cannibalism of it all. After you're 30 years old, because I'll let the conditioning of your parents sway your mind. But after you're 30 and you have the ability of critical thinking, and in an age today where we have access to more information than people have had in thousands of years, the fact that you still believe this is astounding to me. It's amazing to me. It just shows how easy it is to control the masses and how the masses will never raise their head to look up and realize that they've been duped because they put that fear of hell in you. They put that fear of not being part of the group in you. That you now stand steadfast in a religion that literally was taught by people who hated you, by a God who hated you. And you still believe it and you still accept it. And then you try to retranslate it and make it fit into your primitive narrative that you have today in order for you to feel comfortable in your misery. The only way that you will ever be able to grow is that you first have to be willing to take the steps backwards. Take the step back to look at things, see things for what they really are, and then you can move forward. If I'm standing at the base of the mountain, I can't see the best pathway to the mountain. I can't even see the fullness of the mountain. But it is when I stand back in the plains and then I look at the mountain, I can see the fullness of it, and then I can follow the correct path to overcome that mountain. But as long as you're standing with it in your face, you'll never be able to free yourself from it, because you would think that all there is right in front of you. All that exists is what's right in front of you. That nothing else exists beyond that. Step back from your Christianity. Read it from a perspective without a landing point. From the perspective of saying that wherever it really goes is where I'm going to go. And when you stand back, as many of us have done, and look at this religion for what it really is, look at its history, look at its contradictions, look at its evil, look at how it does not fit the archaeological record that we have. If you do that with a true, open mind, there is absolutely no way you could ever remain Christian. So for those of us who have deconstructed, this is just a reminder of why we deconstructed and why we should remain deconstructed from this awful religion. It is a god-awful religion. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.